Hello and welcome to the Rhubarb Room. My name is Thomas and today we are here with a brand new series on the channel, hopefully, of F1 2020 My Team Career. Now the F1 2020 game just released today on the 10th if you bought the 70 edition or the standard edition. However, if you did buy the Schumacher edition, you would have had access to that 3 days early. Hopefully this is something you guys like, and if you do get to the end of the video and you do like it, maybe do consider leaving a like, and if you are new, maybe do consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Now you got a little tease of the car's livery at the beginning, but now we have to get into the sponsors. And when choosing a sponsor, I was kind of like, well, do we go for something for the most money and then probably most likely not get the goal? Do we go for the lowest one, which is a bit maybe too easy with a little bit less money? And in the end, I've kind of decided to go for something kind of maybe slightly out of our reach, which is Loop, and it's to achieve 5-point finishes during a season. Now, that's either myself or my teammate, who we will see who that will be in a minute. But yeah, it could be maybe slightly out of our reach, but all we have to do is have a couple of good races, and we could maybe get 10th place, 9th place, depending if we have a good strategy or not, or maybe a virtual safety car or a full safety car, which means that we can get in a higher position. Now, having gone with Loop, that gives us just over 5 million. We move on to the engine manufacturer.
Fantastic. Now we've got a budget to work with. Our car won't be going anywhere fast without a power unit, so let's sign a power unit supplier now. We need both performance and durability from our power unit, but we also need to balance the books. We're going to have a lot of other areas to invest our cash into.
Now this was quite the hard decision, deciding whether to go with just pure power and blow most of our money, or maybe go for the Honda and try build it up as much as possible. But then thinking about that, you know, the engine power is pretty critical, especially on the last year's game. So yeah, we kind of thought about it a little bit. It's like, well, if you go for Honda, you're probably going to spend most of the season, probably 2 seasons, trying to get even close to maybe the top 5. So in the end, I decided we'll go with probably, you know, just a little bit lower than Mercedes and Ferrari. So obviously that leaves us with the Renault, which has slightly higher performance than the Honda, and what mainly won me over was just slightly higher durability. As I remember in last year's game, I kept getting grid penalties because I'd have to change components, because I'm not the best at looking after the durability of the car.
We almost have all the key partners for our team now, but we still need a teammate for you. These are the drivers available to be your first teammate. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses, so consider everything when deciding who to hire. Drivers earn acclaim based on their performances. When a driver earns enough acclaim, they will level up. The higher a driver's level, the more acclaim they will earn for their current team. And remember, the faster the team levels up, the faster our income will increase. The higher a driver's experience, the more resource points are earned to spend on vehicle upgrades. Racecraft is the driver's skill to effectively complete overtakes when opportunities arise. Awareness shows the driver's ability to avoid errors and incidents. Pace describes the driver's ability to set competitive lap times. Rating is a summary of the driver's overall skill level.
Again, when it's coming to picking the teammate, it was more of, well, do we spend the 1 million, which most of them were, or do we go slightly higher for the 1.5, or even lower for the 750k? But in the end, the two that I was looking at the most was Guan Yu Zhao and Mick Schumacher, and I was just thinking, well, Mick Schumacher does have the better race pace. So he can be more competitive in qualifying, even though he maybe has slightly lower attributes in other areas. But I'm not sure that the extra $500,000 is worth investing in Guan Yu Zhao. So yeah, in the end, we've gone with Mick Schumacher.
Looks like we can afford this power unit supplier and teammate. Go ahead and confirm if you're happy.
Okay, we're live in 5, 4, 3, Hello folks and welcome to the HQ of Formula One's newest team. We've been invited backstage to gain an exclusive insight into what could be one of the most exciting entries in the sport for many years. Now we've seen a number of new teams enter the sport over the last decade, amongst their number Manor, Caterham, HRT and of course Haas. And while some have proved to be successful, others have morphed into different teams and some have disappeared completely. What marks this team out, though, as being something different is that its owner is also its driver. Now, there's a rich history of that in Formula One too. Sir Jack Brabham, John Surtees, Graham Hill and Bruce McLaren all drove their own cars in the sport, but it has become increasingly rare in recent years. What's very special about this team, though, is that while the team itself is new to Formula One, so too is its driver and owner.
Whatever happens this season, you've already made the history books. Tell me, do you feel up to the mammoth task of both managing and driving for a Formula One team?
So this is our first opportunity to earn some brownie points with the new team, so I went with this is not just about me, this is about my team and I'm behind them 100%. Together we're unstoppable.
Every team needs two drivers, but what was it that drew you to your teammates?
Again, I want to try and make ourselves friendly with Mick, so I went with we've seen what they can do on paper and I see a lot of potential in them.
No one aims to finish bottom of the table. Who's the team you're aiming to beat?
So for this one I was kind of torn between Williams, AlphaTauri and Alfa Romeo Racing. I thought Haas was maybe a bit too high for us. Although I haven't really had any laps on the game, so I don't know. But in the end, we went for AlphaTauri, just because I think that's quite achievable. I mean, I think we should be slightly better than Williams.
How are you expecting the car to feel out on track?
Okay then, so this is our chance to complement the R&D department and score some more brownie points for them. So with making the car as responsive as possible was one of our main goals. This is going to give us the edge going into corners.
The other teams now have years of experience, both on and off the track. How are you planning to catch up to them?
With this one, I thought it's probably best we try and complement the power department, just to help the engine out if we can pick the right one. So I went with this area has brought a lot of complexity into the power unit, but we have found plenty of room to innovate in our ERS system.
Overtaking is a key part of this sport. How have you ensured that your car can take advantage of each opportunity that comes your way?
So for this one, I wanted to complement the chassis department. So we've developed an incredibly light car. This helps with both top speed and through the corners.
And finally, which of your new departments are you most proud of?
I was a little concerned that this answer might debuff other departments, but I went with our durability department has been really proactive in testing. They catch problems before they become problems.
Well, that's about all we've got time for here. We will see how this fledgling team fares in its first Grand Prix.
Okay, great, thank you. That's a wrap.
So while we do have some R&D points, I decided to put some in the aero department straight away to hopefully not have our car be in a slidey mess straight off the bat, even though it won't come for a couple of races. I think the next one is the Bahrain Grand Prix that it's available to, so we've only got to get through Australia to get that upgrade. And now just having a look if we have any points for anything else, but we don't. Before we have our car reveal, I've also decided to go and look at what we can do before, and I decided to put Mick Schumacher in a driver training camp to hopefully get some of his stats up before that. Unfortunately, we can't put anything else in because we don't have enough time, just 4 days instead of the 5 that we need. So let's just advance to the car reveal then. So there she is, the livery that we are going to be using for Rhubarb Racing in the debut season, for at least half the season at least.
Hey boss, I think we could better manage our time by organising some team activities. Head to the activity screen to see what we have available.
Carl? Carl, that was a bit late, a little bit late, just going to say. Don't step out of line again like that. And yeah, like you said, I am the boss. So yeah, let's just head to the race weekend and then we'll put that one strike behind us. So we're going to skip straight to qualifying then, but unfortunately, as you just saw, it is in the wet. And having never driven in the wet in this game, it's, yeah, we're going to find out how it's going to go.
Take it easy to start with, the track's wet.
Okay then, so we're going to head out first on our first lap of qualifying in the wet. So for this one we're just going to drive out and kind of, you know, just get like maybe half a lap to get used to it. So already quite slippery there in the rear, but yeah, let's get over to the other lap. So coming over the line for our first lap, you can see we actually in P10 at the moment, which is yeah, quite unexpected. I don't think it's going to stay like that, but yeah, we're going to go round one more time. And yeah, we've already got 3/10 off.
Just 30 seconds left in the session.
And at this point in the lap, feeling fairly confident. I mean, we've almost taken 6/10 off our previous lap, and still in P14, which wasn't bad. So I was expecting, you know what, this could actually be a really decent qualifying for us in the wet. Maybe just because the other cars are struggling more in the wet than we are. But yeah, it's going into the final corner, still in P15. Yeah, we've got almost 5/10 off, 4/10 off our previous lap. And then going over the line, we end up in a measly P22 for our first race and our first qualifying. Now that was a bit of a kick, I will admit, and here you can see the XP and everything. But yeah, this, yeah, our teammate Mick Schumacher did do much better than us actually, about 7/10 quicker than us. But yeah, I guess we'll just have to get to the race and see what happens.
It's finally time once again to begin what promises to be another thrilling season of Formula One action. Pre-season times, subject of so much discussion in recent weeks, mean nothing now, as the cars line up to battle it out for points once again. So let's get this season underway. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. Just south of Melbourne's downtown business centre is the one and only Albert Park circuit. 3.3 miles of public roads, closed for the weekend of course, make for a bumpy circuit with little undulation. There are 16 corners around the lake and a couple of good passing opportunities here as well, thanks in part to the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13. Can Mercedes start with victory in their bid to win a 7th consecutive Constructors' title? Could Ferrari or Red Bull establish an advantage early on? And with 22 cars on the grid, how quickly can the new team find their footing? Well, it's great to be back, Anthony Davidson. We've got a lot to talk about this year.
That's right, Crofty. It felt like a long winter, but it's good to finally be back. I have to think the usual suspects will battle it out at the front, but there are always going to be some teething problems early on in the season, so whoever can keep on top of their issues will have the advantage today.
As I mentioned earlier, we're up to 11 teams this season, with a new entry run by, Well, of all things, an owner-driver. That's something we haven't seen in this sport since Hector Rabac over 4 decades ago. So how are they looking so far?
Ever since their participation was announced, there were questions being asked about whether an outfit like this could survive, and certainly it's proving to be a trial by fire so far. Let's hope they can continue to draw in investment and find a little more pace as well.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Good job yesterday from Valtteri Bottas. The Finn starts from pole position, and it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Vettel, Leclerc, Max Verstappen and Albon, Ricciardo, Sainz, Ocon and Sergio Perez, Stroll, Raikkonen, Daniel Kvyat and Gasly, Giovinazzi, Magnussen, George Russell and Roman Grosjean, Schumacher, Norris, Latifi and Thomas. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay, new season, and we're starting at the back. Let's see if we can do better in the race.
So in the strategy, deciding we'll go for a more aggressive one with 2 stops, 2 stints on the softs and then 1 on the medium. And then also decided to up the fuel just a little bit. Ready for the 5 red lights then. We're underway in this Grand Prix, and yeah, it's a fantastic start compared to Latifi and Norris. So we try to go around the outside of Norris, but he starts to pick up some pace. We lately only just missed Norris by going down the inside, and we just have to go off the circuit there because there was no space. But we did manage to make 1 place at least. And again, we try a massive dive bomb this time, and yeah, we make quite a few places actually, into 16th now. Oh, a little bit of contact there though, and it looks like someone's probably spun a little bit because of the yellow flag. But yeah, not too bad of a start for us. I mean, maybe a little bit questionable with that 1 dive bomb. Maybe it was a bit too much of a sender. But yeah, now we'll just try and keep our race going and catch Kvyat up. Getting a really nice exit there, so we yeah, we engage the overtake button, pull it into rich mix, try to go down the inside late on the brake in, and yeah, nice move there. Little bit of sliding on the rear end as we came out of that, but yeah, that was a really good overtake. So for the next couple of laps, we were just trying to stay behind Giovinazzi and yeah, try again as much as possible.
Use it when within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
And now unfortunately we do drift off quite wide, almost hitting the wall. And that does allow Kvyat behind us to have a little go.
We're leading our teammate by 7.
But we do manage to keep the inside, and yeah, we do end up going off the track slightly, but we managed to keep it in. Kvyat's still on our left though, going round the outside and us on the inside. We managed to just keep him off though, just for now, holding him off. And then again, unfortunately, we go possibly even wider there at earlier stage, and then this time Kvyat does pounce, and yeah, he's made the overtake.
Try to keep focus.
Some reason braked super early here, and that just allows him to kind of waltz off.
We're approaching the pit window. You'll be on the softs. No issues with tyre wear for now. Keep taking care of them.
So I was quite optimistic here. I was thinking, okay, we haven't let him get too far ahead of us, given that his car should be roughly the same performance as ours. So I thought we'd take a bit of speed in here, but then we go too wide, and then we just completely lose the car. And yeah, unfortunately, our first race has ended very prematurely on the 7th lap.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park. Talk to me, Ant. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Mercedes are on top form once again after an excellent race weekend. It's great to see them up on that podium once again. So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. After an incredible performance, Lewis Hamilton secures the top spot in the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss, Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day? Well,
So a terrible result for Rhubarb Racing in the debut race. Terrible qualifying, and then absolutely abysmal performance in the actual race with a DNF in the 7th lap. Yeah, it couldn't have gone much worse, to be honest. But you live and you learn, and next time at the Bahrain Grand Prix, we will prove ourselves worthy of being on the F1 track. So yeah, if you liked it, maybe do leave a like, and yeah, look forward to the next episode, and leave a comment as well for what we should change or what should try to do differently. I would appreciate the feedback. But from me, goodbye and ciao ciao.